All right then, 2025, here we go. So, guess what today is? At least for like the date of January 1st, as in general, it is the day of Reinhardt's birthday. Yes, I am starting off this year with a ReZero video, because why the hell not? Now, in terms of strength, obviously, I think it's without saying that Reinhardt is pretty busted. Like, I think that's an understatement. He is so overkill in terms of power that, I mean, he can solo almost every single verse in existence just because of his divine protections, which are pretty busted considering that he can gain divine protections, and even the current ones he has are pretty busted.
He automatically dodges any attack he's never seen before, and he automatically dodges pretty much all other attacks too. There's also a rumor that if he dies, he can just come back to life. Auto dodge for long range attacks, and 100% accuracy for all ranged attacks, total immunity, shamanic spells, buffs and debuffs, and elemental attacks that bounce right off him.
If he auto dodges first attacks and attacks he's never seen, so all attacks really, and he can come back to life, how exactly are you supposed to beat him?
Now, that's aside because power scaling him is actually would be a very short video. Let's go more into his personality, because I think that's where a lot of key interest comes from, because he acts like noble, he acts graceful, but a lot of Season 3 does point out that Reinhardt kinda doesn't understand people as much, and that is due to his upbringing. For starters, since this is more in a side story, Reinhardt's mom is not in the picture. Not because she's dead, mind you, but because she's in a coma, similar to how Rem's in a coma, though I guess different since they remember her and all that. More specifically, Heinkel, Reinhardt's dad, which completely sent him in a whole spiral of drinking. And yeah, that was just his childhood. Losing his mom, his dad becoming, well, an alcoholic. Yeah, not exactly fun. And although he wasn't screwed up from that because he still had Wilhelm and Theresia, you know, the two interesting pair, only for Theresia to be sent to take on the White Whale, all because Heinkel was too much of a coward to do it. And I mean, I guess I get it, like Theresia was at that moment the master swordsman, but the fact that she had to do it is kind of embarrassing on Heinkel's part. Granted, though, this kind of spiraled the entire Van Astrea family because Theresia had been killed there against the White Whale because Reinhardt received the divine blessing of the divine swordsman, master swordsman. Regardless of the name, he still inherited the divine protection that Theresia had, which caused Wilhelm to completely despise his own grandson, blaming him for literally everything that happened to Theresia, which sparked his vengeance against the White Whale. But it also drove a rift between their relationship, as well as Heinkel also throughout time eventually just hating on Reinhardt too, blaming him for everything as well. So poor Reinhardt, like, the dude really had it rough. And despite that, like, when we first met him in Season 1, like, he was a chill guy. And I mean, Subaru and him, quite literally the opposites, but the most broken characters in their own respective rights. And yet they make quite a good team. Now, obviously, we see his power. He's able to just completely dominate Elsa like it's nothing. And that's as far as it is when combat, and most of his stuff in Arc 1. A lot of it was coming in clutch when Subaru, Emilia really needed the assist. So that's as far as the extent on Arc 1. Granted, though, Reinhardt saw that Felt had the insignia and it glowed, like it started to shine. So that immediately told him that Felt was the person, the fifth candidate that they were waiting on. And he chose to follow her, which is interesting because now we have Reinhardt who's there to be Felt's knight. And it's a big deal because Reinhardt is literally Reinhard van Astrea, the strongest character in all of Lagunica. So having him in any camp really does higher up the boost of that camp. And although we do see him attempting to try to prevent his two friends, Julius and Subaru, from fighting, unfortunately this was for Subaru's development. But he did try to get Subaru to apologize. He was trying his best, but clearly Subaru wasn't listening. And then he kind of dipped out for the remainder of the arc, doing his own thing with Felt, having some side stories which assists with how the Felt camp was starting to build up on its own, and how they even got the Three Stooges. But in Arc 5, because we don't see anything in Arc 4, Arc 5, the current season, we do see a bit of Reinhardt. Like, obviously Garfield tries to attack him, that doesn't work. We do have him, like, trying to have a communication with Garfield, but I like that Felt kind of calls him out and kind of tells him that, I mean, the way he speaks is off, in a sense. Like, he's trying to communicate with people, but because of, like, his lack of self-awareness, which Felt kind of brings up, it kind of disconnects the person he speaks with. Oh, it's interesting because also his status kind of also skews things a bit. But Felt is one of the few people who can stand up to Reinhardt, despite obviously the power difference being absurd. And Subaru is one of the rare people that tends to connect with Reinhardt, as in episode 8, where Subaru quite literally told Reinhardt, like, hey, whatever you can't do, you can count on me, and whatever I can't do, I can count on you. Essentially, looking as the two are equals, which is something that Reinhardt, like, he craves. He really does want friends. He wants to not be viewed as this super overpowered person that can do anything, considering that he really can't. Episode 2 proves it when he does beat Sirius, but it results in everyone in the square, like, they are deaths, including Subaru's, which poor Reinhardt of that loop, because now he has to come across with the idea that he just killed his friend. But jumping around a tad bit too much, so it kind of shows where Reinhardt's mindset is. He's always viewed as this broken, like, he's busted up character, like, super strong, that they had to make a whole law on him because literally any kingdom would feel threatened if he just arrived to another kingdom. But there's also the factor that he wants to connect with people, and Subaru being the first one that genuinely connected with them. Like, yeah, Julius, Felix, and him are, like, the three trios that, like, are friends, but there's still that whole notion that Reinhardt's, like, the strongest knight and all. Subaru and Felt don't really care about his status, they just care about him, which, I mean, it is nice to see, like, season 3, arc 5, that Wilhelm is genuinely trying to connect with his grandson after so long, after he got his revenge on the White Whale and all that. And obviously Heinkel's not really allowing it, but it's also interesting seeing Heikel using his son, because he knows that during that whole mess with the witches cult attacking, literally using Felt as a hostage is the only way to force Reinhardt to essentially stay with him. So if anything happens, Reinhardt's there. And even though he wants to help Felt and wants to defy his father, he just can't. Like, if it wasn't for Otto's little distraction, like, literally, Reinhardt could not do anything, which shows that he cares for his family, despite how badly they've treated him. He genuinely wants to create the bond, especially with his grandfather. He definitely respects his father, despite, you know, how much of a prick he acts. Like, there's a lot more to Reinhardt. And because Tauricia is back, and obviously revealed in season 3, like I said in my review of season 3 core 1, because Teresi is there, that means that Heinkel, Wilhelm, and Reinhardt have one big thread that causes all of them to combine together in this crazy story. Because my god, Lee, when she plays into the picture, once we see her, like, things are gonna go insane. Because let me just tell you, the Van Astrea family is just broken people that are trying their best, honestly, to try to repair things, but things kind of go wilding. But yeah, that's Reinhardt. Like, he may be the strongest, but unfortunately, kind of doesn't have the best family life. And as far as friends, I mean, I can at the very least say that he has friends that care for him. It's just he needs to allow himself to find, like, awareness of what he says, as well as, like, allow himself to be himself, not to have this sword saint persona that he's put himself in, because that's kind of what I feel like. He with Subaru, it seems like his more truer personality comes out, and with Felt for sure. But I mean, it's just with those two, and it still takes him some time from the looks of it. But Reinhardt is one of those characters that there's a lot of depth to him.